Okay, 9. So I had a request for thinking question number 1 from the quiz. So a cylinder has the same height as a sphere with a volume of 2,500 centimeters cubed. And then that cylinder has the same radius as a cone with a volume of 950 centimeters cubed and a height of 15 centimeters. And then you have to determine, and this is really important here, the surface area of the cylinder. So whenever you do these questions, your answers should include the formula that you use and the substitution step. So let's take a look at it. So the first thing we want to do is let's figure out the height of the cylinder. So we know that this formula for a sphere is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. And we know that the volume in this case is 2,500. So replace the volume of the sphere with 2,500 because it's a given. And then we know the formula. So now what we need to do is we need to rearrange. So I always like to rewrite my formulas so I have a numerator and a denominator. Recognizing that this 4 gets multiplied by the pi r cubed, and then the 3 is just in the denominator. So now I can take the 3 across to the other side. So I have 3 times 2,500, which is 7,500. And then that's going to equal 4 pi r cubed. And now I can take the 4 pi to the other side, and recognizing that now I'm going to have 7,500 divided by 4 pi. And that's going to equal r cubed. So now I need to take the cubed to the other side. And so when I do that, I'm going to take the cube root of 7,500 divided by 4 pi. It's going to be equal to r. And when I go ahead and I grab my calculator, I'm going to hit second function, and then, actually I'm going to hit 3. Then second function, and then the button on my calculator. And so now I want to put all of this into brackets because it all has to be square rooted. So it's 7,500 divided by 4 pi. And when I do that, I end up with approximately 8.4 is equal to my radius. Well, a height of a cone is the diameter of the sphere. So, my height of my cylinder. So I know that from there that the height of the cylinder is going to equal the diameter of the sphere, which is going to equal 2 times the radius of the sphere, which is going to equal 2 times 8.4, or 16.8 centimeters. So that was step 1. So step 2 says it has the same, so the cylinder has the same radius as a cone with a volume of 950 centimeters cubed and a height of 15 centimeters. So if we go ahead and do the second part, we know then that the volume of the cone is equal to pi r squared h all over 3. And so in this case, I know that the volume is 950. So I can go ahead and replace that. And it's equal to pi times the radius squared times h, and I know that my height is 15 centimeters. So I can go ahead and replace that, and then that is all going to be over 3. And so before I start to move anything to the other side, I want to simplify this. And so I see that I have all of this divided by 3. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. So this is going to be the same thing as 5 pi r squared. So now I have 5 pi multiplied by r squared. So when I take that to the other side, it becomes a division. So I have 950 divided by 5 pi is equal to r squared. All right, so we're almost done. So we want to take the squared now to the other side. So we have a square root. So we have the square root of 950 divided by 5 pi is going to be equal to our radius. So let's go ahead and do the calculation on that. So my square root button is right here on my calculator, so it's the yellow one, so I hit the second, the square root, and then again I want to put the whole thing in brackets because it's an expression, so 950 divided by 5 pi, and I get approximately 7.8 centimeters is equal to my radius. So now I know that the height of the cylinder is 16.8 and the radius of the cylinder is 7.8. So now I'm just going to calculate the third step here, which is the surface area. So I know that the surface area of a cylinder is, the formula for it is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. So I'm going to go ahead and replace what I know. So I know that the radius is 7.8. So that becomes 7.8 squared plus 2 pi, and I know my radius is 7.8, and I know my height is 16.8. So I can go ahead and plug all of that into my calculator. So I have 2 times pi times 7.8 squared plus 2 times pi times 7.8 times 16.8, and that all equals 1205.6 centimeters squared. So therefore the surface area of the cylinder is 1205.6 centimeters squared. Anyway, nines, hope that helped.